Hey, it's Eli, Hey Atlas, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of Leaders of the Free World number 3, the front cover, the line art, how it came together, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun, I think. Sounds like the kind of thing that you're into. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share this video. And make sure you support the Kickstarter. It is on right now. All right, I'll have the link and everything you need to know about that down in the description. Let's get into it. Playing the video right now. We're starting not too far into it. So we're still at the beginning. I'm starting on Surreal on the inking stage. So for this particular cover, Corey always likes to take a little bit of influence, pay a little bit of homage to certain books and certain posters and things like that he is a fan of, and we kind of went that same route with this one. I'm not going to tell you which poster, which comic cover that this one kind of takes a few key elements from. So if you guys have any idea about that, leave that in the comments down below as well. But for this particular scene, we've got the main characters strewn about. They've been defeated in battle by a very shadowy figure, and the shadow comes very literally a little bit later into the coloring stage. So we have Moonshine, Technique, Techno, Surreal, Eco, Medic, and the skull of Dr. Seance. His body actually kind of dissolves and disintegrates, whatever you want to call it, and we just see the skull right there. And there's a bit of a magical story for that, and that will actually be explained a little bit more inside of the pages of the book as well. So if you're not supporting the campaign, what are you doing? Support the campaign. Links to that will be down in the description. So right now we're still going through Surreal, and I'll always like to use a mix of larger inks and smaller size pens as well to do my inking. That way there's a bit of variety and a bit of line weight. Although I don't follow the line weight thing as religiously on the outlines of characters, I do like to have a little bit of variety when it comes to the details of the characters. So his pant legs, his the wrinkles on his clothes, things like that. I try to have as much variety of line weights as possible. One of the most important things about Surreal's design as well is his shoes. He's a very stylish character, and he's kind of both me and Corey's favorite character for a lot of reasons. One is his sense of fashion, and I think that's gone over pretty well and been received pretty well by the viewers of this book and the readers of this book, and I really appreciate that. So moving on to Seance Skull. As you know, if you know anything about my process, I tend to go with the easiest and quickest elements to draw first in the pages and the images that I typically create, just for time's sake, also because it kind of helps me mentally to kind of fill up the image so I can get a sense of like feeling a bit closer to finished, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like self-motivation while you're drawing, and I would advise you to do that if you can kind of do that as well and it makes sense for you, because I know some people like to draw everything in order and some people are a little more disorganized like myself. I kind of just pick up in different random areas of an image. So if that's something you haven't tried before, maybe play with it and see if you like it. So right now we are in the middle of drawing Doohickey, and I forgot to mention him in the lineup, but he's on this cover as well. Probably the most famous and most popular member of Leaders of the Free World, the Cyborgy, as he is fondly known to a great many people. He's looking up at the shadowy figure who attacked our heroes, and he is growling ferociously. Simple as that. It was hard to find a good reference image, because I'm not one of the people who are like just great at drawing animals, but for this one I ended up finding something that was pretty close to the angle I wanted, and then I kind of made it up from there. So it's hard to find a particular angle, but I kind of combined different things, different pictures of different angles, since I couldn't find the exact thing I wanted. So mixing and matching references is definitely something that I would recommend doing. If you can't find exactly what you're looking for, you can kind of play with what you know and also work with the references. Moving on to Eco now. He is sprawled out on the floor. Everybody had to have a different pose for this cover. I always like to move everybody as dynamically and as uniquely as possible. So when I'm looking at a page, I never really want anybody to be doing the same thing, and maybe that's just making it hard on myself to kind of draw like that, but I think it kind of shows in the final result. I like everyone to kind of have a life of their own and movements of their own. So, but this also kind of takes a little bit, again, inspiration, even in some of the poses, but not too closely with some of the poses, for the homage that we're kind of throwing in here to another famous comic book cover. So with Eco, you know, I kind of had to debate how much of him I wanted to show versus how much of him I wanted to shroud, because, you know, I had to fit everybody into this cover, and I draw quite large on paper. So it was kind of a balancing act between how much I want to put one character in, how much I want to put another character in. Fortunately, I do layouts before I go into these, so I kind of had an idea of how much space each character was going to take up, and I highly recommend, if you're not doing layouts, that's something you got to get into, because not only will it help your final picture come out a little bit faster, but it'll also help you in deciding what looks best before you commit to anything, and before you take too much time just trying to figure things out on the page. So layouts, big key right there. So we're working on Medic, kind of in the middle of that, finishing up on her shirt. Medic has proven to be a pretty popular character as well. I feel like that's thanks in part to issue 2. Her debut was kind of what do we say, highlighted by this double splash page that I did, double spread page, however you want to call it. And she was inside of a hospital doing this big fight scene, and you know, she beat a whole bunch of bad guys by herself. And you know, I think everybody kind of really had you know, that page had a pretty good reception, and I really appreciate everybody who, again, supported issue 2 and issue 1 as well. So I always want to make a Medic look, I treat all the characters with the same amount, but I feel like some inherently have a more just like, they deserve a little bit extra more like time, you know. Dr. Sands being one of those characters, Medic definitely being one of those characters as well. And you know, something about her design is very simple but very clean, and I think it just ended up working. She's a lot of fun to draw, so she's actually been on all 3 of the covers as well so far, so I think that kind of says something for the character as well. And now we're moving on to Techno, who is the older brother of Technique, Nikia. They are Samoan, and they are the tech geniuses on the team. And when you're doing covers like this, it's easy to just want to show everybody from the front, because that's like the money shot. You always want to see the front of characters' faces, but don't be afraid to like hide the faces. Turn the character's face down, put them on their sides, things like that. First of all, it makes it look a little bit more realistic, because in a fight, everybody's not going to fall, you know, perfectly face front, showing the camera. Some people are going to fall on their side, they got knocked out, and you know, they're just like out of it. So it's a little bit more real, and they're just falling kind of in a ragdoll kind of way, and everybody's sprawled out in different positions. And we can kind of tell, that's another thing that's very important to do, is to make your character designs very unique, very striking. So even if we turn him around, he's the only person on the team who looks like that. So we kind of know instantly, even without color, even without seeing him from the front, who he is and what character that is. So we get a lot of information just from the back of his outfit. And one thing about Techno Technique, and you can see I'm working on the background elements here. Again, I jump around a lot on the page, but one thing about Techno and Technique's design is that I can kind of get away with drawing the armor a little bit slightly differently each time, because their costumes, it's a bit like the Iron Man suit when you think about it, and that it kind of like, when you see the movies, how everything kind of like moves and stuff on his outfit. I kind of always imagine their outfits being like that a bit as well. So the armor like always transforms, the breastplates move, all the armors, the bracers, and all this ton of technology is always kind of like moving, and it looks very animated. And I actually still kind of need to make an animation design for that type of thing as well, since I've done, most of the members of the team have their own animations, which you can find online on my websites, on Instagram /ArtByAtlas or @ArtByAtlas, and also on Twitter Art by Atlas 0, I believe. I'll have all that information down below, of course. So coming to the end of the image right here, and we're just gonna let it roll out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this and took a few tips here and there on how to make your cover images pop and what I did to make my cover pop for Leaders of the Free World 3, illustrated by myself, written by Corey Pruitt. We're gonna have Paris Alain doing, hopefully I pronounced that correct. He's a French artist and he's just super talented. He does colors, he does drawing, the whole thing. He's a new addition to the team, and he's gonna be doing colors over in my line art. And we're gonna have Tobin Racicott back as well, best colorist in the game in my opinion. So yeah, make sure you guys follow the links down below. We're gonna have the Kickstarter campaign down there. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share if this video helped you out. If you found it entertaining, educational, always let me know. Leave your comments and suggestions on this video as well. So thank you guys so much once again for watching, and thanks for supporting the campaign. I'll see you in the next video. Later.